see this. It's
something that'll change the world and human life as we know it.
He knows. He's seen the light.
When Monty talks, it's painful.
Monty, you have been so instrumental in kind of pointing me in the right direction.
It was about looking at your character defects in spirituality.
It's the integration of clinical practices with the 12 steps.
It's an absolute pleasure. He certainly knows a lot of people. He's got a lot of energy, and sometimes when you don't have so much energy, he picks you up and carries you.
The Monty Man there certainly helps.
This is one of the places that is about the business of the solution.
The views expressed on this special broadcast of the Take 12 radio show do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting or its affiliates. KHLT is not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
Now here's that guy who's getting less popular minute by minute. Your host, the Multi-Man.
Well, greetings one and all. Welcome aboard the Good Ship Recovery here at Take12Radio.com on your internet dial, broadcasting to you from the outskirts of beautiful downtown Albany, Oregon at the KHLT Recovery Broadcasting Studios. Welcome to the world's only faith-based solution-focused 12-step radio program, broadcasting to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, recovery talk and positive music internationally and locally over the internet. And as of recent weeks, on the Bill Post Radio Network out of Kaiser, Oregon as well. You can listen to our live stream by going to Take12Radio.com and click on the live stream link, 11 a.m. to noon every day, Monday through Friday. And then rebroadcast at 6 p.m. and at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can listen to all of our podcasts at Take12Radio.com as well. And if you're listening at our website right now, there are several ways for you to download the show. You can click on the play button, MP3 stream link. You can download it from there. You can listen to it and watch on YouTube as well. And we have our archives page, just a lot of stuff. We have an enormous amount of resources for you. And this show, we're going to be giving you some more resources, as if you don't have enough, right? Well, let me tell you something. There is never enough when it comes to dealing with the number one health crisis in our world. And that's addiction. You may think it's cancer. You may think it's heart disease. You may think it's diabetes. You may think it's even HIV and AIDS. It's not. It's addiction. Number one, it affects and afflicts more people than any other malady that we have ever experienced. And yet, recovery from addiction gets the least amount of attention due to stigma. And we are all about helping to break down the walls of stigma here at Take 12 Radio on your internet dial. Because, you know what? Being us against them kind of attitude isn't solving any problems. So I welcome you to the show. And for those of you who are in recovery, welcome. Check us out. We've got all sorts of resources for you. For those of you who are friends and family members of the active addict or even the alcoholic or addict who's in recovery, welcome. You're welcome, wanted, and needed. And for those of you who perhaps should be in recovery, hey, give us a chance here. Don't give up on us. There may be something here that could save your life. Well, today on the show, it is my privilege and honor to have two wonderful guests on that are doing something to break the stigma of addiction. And they are such a support for each other and for the recovery community. And when I say the recovery community, please don't think that that's limited to people who are in recovery from substance abuse. It's not. We are all recovering from something. There are no normies. There's always something that we do. What is it that you do, ladies and gentlemen, that you just can't seem to stop? Is it biting your nails till they bleed? Is it gossip? Is it food? Is it overspending? We limit this thing. We say, oh, well, it's narcotic abuse or alcohol abuse. No, it's very widespread. But let me tell you something. Friends and family members of those living with addiction or those struggling with addiction, they have an enormous amount of work that they have to do for their own recovery and their own health, and it is absolutely heartbreaking. It's extremely painful to watch loved ones go through the struggles they go through as a result of active addiction. And we've got a couple of things going on here. One of them is a buzzword we've heard for a number of years called codependency. Well, it's much more than a buzzword. It's a reality. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. Another issue is the support of family and friends together, helping each other get through the effects of the loved one's addictions. And with me on the phone right now, the first person I want to introduce to you is Barbara Theodosiou. She has a website called the Addicts Mom. Now listen, 7 years ago, Barbara, a South Florida mother of 4, found out that 2 of her sons were addicted to drugs. At a loss and not knowing where to turn, her life plunged into deep despair. Some of you are shaking your heads going, yep, I am there right now. Well, she was living every mother's worst nightmare, and she didn't know where to turn. And through Barbara's brokenness, an idea was born, and that idea is called the Addicts Mom. Deep inside, she knew she was not the only mom suffering. She says, I knew there had to be other mothers who were going through the same emotional pain that I was. And so for my first introduction here, welcome, Barbara, to the show.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Now, so folks, hold that thought for a minute. My second guest, and we're going to be talking, all three of us here, is Debbie Sherrick. Now, Debbie knows all about codependency. Her website is InsideOutWellnessCoach.com. And Debbie is a holistic codependency coach. What exactly does that mean? Well, she's going to explain that here in a minute. And motivated by her own personal story, to healing herself from the inside out, she loves to share her personal story of coming out of the shame, the low self-esteem, and the pain of codependency. You think that the addict, the active addict and the alcoholic have shame and low self-esteem? Let me tell you something. It touches the codependent, the family and friends of. It does, in a deep, deep, painful way. She is a certified holistic health counselor and codependency life coach. Her approach to achieving empowerment related to codependency is done in a non-conventional manner, using holistic modalities, and we're going to talk about that. So, Debbie, welcome to the show as well.
Thank you, Monty. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, you guys. Now, tell me how you guys met, first of all. So, who wants to start off with that?
Go ahead, Barbara. Okay, how did we meet? I had run women's groups years ago, and I worked with another woman. We did a lot of events in the community before my life got totally destroyed by addiction.
Yeah.
We did women's groups for business women and so forth. And I think through the groups Debbie and I met, I believe we met like through our common groups that we went to. Is that right, Debbie?
Yes, we met at an event initially. That's how we met. And, of course, with the work that I do with codependency and her being head of Addicts Mom, there was a definite, correlation and connection there.
The addictsmom.com is the website. And by the way, I must say, this is an award-winning website. And Barbara's going to explain what that means here in a minute. But Barbara, let's start out with you. You find out that your 2 sons are addicted to drugs. That had to be devastating.
When I found out within 6 months, here I am. I had 20 chapters of a women's group, and I was, had a really good life. I was happy, and I find out within 6 months that both of my sons are addicted, one to heroin and one to like pills, another type of drug. And literally, I went into bed. I couldn't, I just couldn't function anymore. I stopped going to my meetings. I stopped practically living. My entire focus, my entire life became my addicted son. And the reason I had started the Addicts Mom was because no matter what I did, although I tried everything from the ridiculous putting down, $20,000 on a rehab to, following my children around like a bodyguard, I finally just said, if my children are going to, go down this way, then I'm going to help every mother that I can who's going through what I'm going through. And I just started a simple Facebook page to begin with called The Addicts Mom. The Addicts Mom now has over 20,000 members, and we're way more than just a website. So, I don't want to take up all your time, but if you want to know more about it, you can certainly, I can tell you a little bit more that we have 50 state chapters. We have events in all of our states. We do online video meetings that we do within the rooms, and we hold 3 events yearly. One is the Steps of Hope, where mothers in every single state, we ask to walk a mile in our shoes, because the Addicts Mom, our mission, our statement is sharing without shame. Because when I started this 7 years ago, there were very few moms that would come on that page and admit they were an Addicts Mom. So we do, walk a mile in our shoes. And our second event, which is coming up on the 30th of September, is the Lights of Hope, where we have mothers again in every state light candles. There's a red one for an addict in recovery, a white one for an active addict, and a black one for, unfortunately, an addict that has passed on. Mm. And then we do throughout the year, we go into the schools. We do Addicts Mom Words of Hope, which is having the children write different essays and so forth. And that's it. I just wanted to say we have chapters that are online and offline as well as the web.
Okay, so you have chapters, you have chapters in every state. So I want to encourage you listening, folks, if you are a mother of an addict, excuse me, and when I say addict, I mean that's just not limited to, some people are saying that are listening are saying, well, that means they're putting a needle in their arm. Well, not necessarily. It can be opiate-based pain medication. It can be what they call robo-tripping today. That's drinking cough syrup or Robitussin and Mucinex to the point of almost, in some cases, stopping your heart. It can be alcoholism. It can be marijuana abuse, whatever it is. And you're heartbroken. I really want to encourage you listeners to go to theaddictsmom.com and sign up. Become an active member. You don't have to do this thing alone, do they, Barbara?
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
We actually get a lot of, together we really are stronger, and the reason why it's so powerful is because nobody understands what an addict's mom is going through really as much as another addict's mom.
Boy, that is so true. That is so true. When a mother sits down with another mother who's going through the pain of the affliction of addiction, there is no healing properties as beneficial as having that other person with you to walk through this stuff together. And I just applaud you for what you're doing. Now you guys have received some pretty awesome recognition. And you're not being braggadocious by saying this, because I'm inviting you to tell listeners about this. Tell us the award that you have received as of late.
Okay, thank you, Londa. That's very nice of you. We just received the Maria Shriver Architect of Change Award as an organization that changes the world. We just received that a few months ago. We received the 2013 Behavioral Health Award in Florida. We've been recognized by SAMHSA and NIDA, with the 2 huge addiction organizations, as also an organization that helps with addiction. And we've been in just a lot of media. So I just want to thank you and the opportunity. You have a wonderful show, and for supporting the Addicts Mom and helping others to find us. Really, our goal at the end of the day, with all the awards and the PR and everything else, our true goal, the biggest goal we have, is finding that one mother who was me, who is in bed and thinks nobody else that has her problems. She has nobody to talk to. Every day we try to find that one mother to join our site, which is www.addictsmom.com. Thank you.
The Addicts Mom is collaborating with the National Institute on Drug Abuse listeners to spread facts and shatter myths about drugs through social media and grassroots groups. Now listen, really, I mean this, and even if you're not a mom, I want you to go to theaddictsmom.com, www.theaddictsmom.com. You can follow the links here at Take 12 Radio as well to visit that site. I've signed up, and I know there are many, many other people out there, Barbara, that want to and need to. Listen, we're going to take our first break, folks. When we come back, we're going to visit with Debbie Sherrick here, and we're going to talk about codependency, how this ties in with the Addicts Mom. And some of you moms out there, you may not like what you're about to hear, but you need to hear it. You really, really do. Folks, don't go away. More with my guests when we come back. Take12radio.com on your internet dial, recovery talk, and positive music. Hey, this is the Monty Man at Take 12 Recovery Radio. You know, for way too long, the faith community and church leadership has had a misunderstanding of what addiction and recovery is really all about. Well, it's time we clear up some issues. Recovery Life presents Understanding Addiction and Recovery, an informational workshop focused on educating the faith community, clergy, lay people, and church leadership on the problem and solution of alcoholism and addiction. Friday nights, 7 to 9 p.m. at Oak Creek Christian Center, 5775 Columbus Street Southeast, Albany, Oregon. Gender-specific recovery life groups and support meetings for friends and families will form during the workshops. For more information, visit recoverylife.org. Recovery Life, a community outreach for the Willamette Valley in cooperation with Oak Creek Christian Center.
Men, women, and their families experience tremendous pain and suffering due to the struggles they face from substance abuse and its co-occurring mental health challenges. They need to find a safe place for peace and healing. Therapia Addiction Healing Center was born out of a deep desire to provide that safe and powerful healing environment. Therapia exists to help people recover from addictions by developing and maintaining healthy, meaningful relationships with God, self, and others. To speak with an addiction specialist, call 1-855-652-4325. That's 1-855-652-4325. Or visit our website at www.therapia.net. Therapia Addiction Healing Center, restoring lives one step at a time.
He's a little crazy, but then again, you already knew that.
I got in like 3 fights when I was in grade school. All 3 of them were with the bully. You know, we all know who they are. They're always a little bit bigger, they kind of smelly, and we duke it out. And after he beat the snot out of me, I'd say, "You come back tomorrow and I'll give you more of that."
It's the Bill Post Radio Show. Bill Post Radio Show. Weekdays at noon.
Yes, indeedy. Trouble on the way. Well, there's good news. You don't have to do this thing alone. Theaddictsmom.com. Please check out that website. Barbara Theodosiou, she is the founder of that thing, and communicate with her. Get involved with that. Please don't be the Lone Ranger. Please don't. You don't need to. Okay. Barbara's going to stay on the line with us, and Barbara, you're welcome to chime in here as we talk about this issue. Debbie Sherrick is a woman who understands codependency, like many people do, and more than many people don't. And she has a website, InsideOutWellnessCoach.com. First of all, Debbie, let me ask you, what is a wellness coach?
Well, a wellness coach really, Monty, can be a lot of things. As far as my work as a wellness coach, working in the field with codependency, is that I work holistically with clients, and holistic means the whole of us, mind, body, and spirit. So when I have worked with someone with codependency, I work with them physically, emotionally, and spiritually. In being a wellness coach, I'm a certified licensed herbalist. I'm a licensed nutritionist. I'm a licensed aromatherapist and iridologist. And I was a personal trainer for years with sports exercise. So I have a lot of background with wellness and doing things in a holistic, alternative way. So when I say that I work with codependents in a non-conventional way, is that when I work with groups or individually, I work with them holistically. I work with their physical, what's going on with them physically, because I believe the body, the mind, and the spirit are all connected. When one's sick, they're all sick.
Absolutely, and I want you to know that I am so on board with that, because one of the things that we are absolutely adamant about here at Take 12 Radio is we don't bring on any sponsors to our shows unless they have that approach, because there are treatment facilities out there, and folks, please don't misunderstand. There are people that are alcohol or drug abusers, but are not the addict or the alcoholic of the hopeless variety. They don't have the obsession of the mind. They don't have the allergy of the body, and all they need to do is grow up. And there are treatment facilities out there that benefit them, and they do a great job. But for those of us who are hopeless and left to our own devices, are powerless over whatever it is, even codependency, we need to be treated. The whole person needs to be treated, thus holistic. And we won't bring anybody on as a sponsor unless they do that. And so I just congratulate you for that. How important, now this is a real interesting, because somebody asked me this, Debbie, the other day when I was talking about having you on. How important is proper nutrition, even for the codependent?
Well, I come from the belief that you are what you eat. And so, so many times codependents, because we're so focused on someone else, we're enabling and rescuing and obsessed with, that one core of the codependency is loss of self, and not having that mind-body connection where they really put themselves first or take care of themselves. So many of them will be living on coffee and cigarettes, or I forgot to eat today, or they don't have that mind-body connection of what they are eating. A lot of my codependent clients are emotional eaters, because they're not, they don't want to use a substance like drugs or alcohol to stuff their feelings and their pain. But in our society, a lot of times food is okay to do that.
Right.
So they will be binge eaters, or they eat excessively to comfort themselves.
Yeah, comfort food. Isn't that ironic? We call it comfort food, especially, the southern kind of recipes. Oh, let's have some comfort food. Barbara, did you find yourself not taking care of yourself very well when you were feeling the depression and anxiety of the addictive behavior of your children?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, Monty, I have to be truthful. I have learned over time, because I speak to moms all day long, on this topic that are addicts moms. So many addicts moms who never had an addiction problem become addicts. They become alcoholics. They, on pills. Many of them go on antidepressants. They stop dressing well. They gain weight. They just fall apart as a person, know. And it's very true what you're saying about eating habits and taking care of yourself. It all goes hand in hand. You lose yourself. You become obsessed with the person who's addicted to the drug, almost as as much as the person is addicted to the drug, then you're addicted to the person.
Yeah, you
Lose
bet.
yourself.
You bet. So Debbie, what about the spiritual end of it? How vital is it a person have a spiritual experience and a spiritual awakening in their life to become whole?
Well, that's my favorite question of all, because that's my favorite thing. And my quest when I do work with someone is to get them to higher consciousness. And so, I do a lot of energy work. I work with, I've developed a program of healing codependency through the chakras and just the energy centers in our body, starting with our root center, which is our family of origin and the belief systems that we have acquired growing up, and traditions from our family, and not learning to set boundaries and those type of things, and going all the way up into the body where we get to the heart of forgiveness and resentment and, being able to love again and speaking our truth. But the goal is to get to that higher consciousness of spirit, that's where we live, is not in those lower energies of reacting and emotions and doing what our family did and, those old dysfunctional behaviors that we learned growing up. I believe by the age of 7, we pretty much develop our belief systems. I tell people, you just didn't wake up codependent one day.
Oh, right.
There was a lot of things that happened growing up, because people will say, I had a perfect childhood. My childhood was great. And so I don't know how I keep meeting and wanting to fix these addicts, or even women in domestic violence, and so a lot of denial there. But to me, Monty, coming to that place to know, now to me, my higher power is God, and I could not be where I am today if it wasn't for God.
Mm-hmm.
And everything I've been through in the past, all my pain of my childhood and my relationships and my being queen of codependency, was all to me for such a time as this, that I am able to relate to others. And I always say God can turn your scars into stars. And those lessons and those things that we grew up, I'm very grateful for my painful past and all the addicts that were in my life, because I believe God uses it for good. And I think that's why I can relate today to codependence, because I've been through all of that, the abuse, the addiction, the abandonment, all those things. And to me, I could never have made it without God. So higher consciousness and spirituality should be, I believe, our goal to get to. That when we get into those codependent behaviors, we have tools and we know how to shift to higher consciousness. And we know how to turn to God and connect with Him and let go of those things and turn them over to Him and ask for His help.
Right, and that's one of the things I love about the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, for instance. We had, that was weird. Is that it says that developing a relationship with a power greater than ourselves that can help solve our problem is the whole purpose of this book. And I think not just within AA, but within other 12-step fellowships as well, even faith-based ones, sometimes we miss that. Sometimes we forget that the whole purpose of this thing is to become aligned spiritually with our true self, with our Creator, and with the power. Because I say this all the time, you guys. I say there's no power in the steps. They're there to show us our need for a power. And it's so important. It's so important. So Barbara, let me ask you, in your journey through codependency as an addict's mom, and in your own personal recovery, has this spiritual connection become a very very important focus for you?
I find it really hard, and so does my son, to be quite as, I guess, the believer. Like Debbie really, truly believes in God, and I believe in God as well. But I think your higher power can be many things, and it works differently for different people. And I truly believe that, this is a crazy thing, but I believe that we're spirits and we come here to learn lessons in life. And one of my best friends told me something that actually always stayed with me, and it really helped me with a lot of the pain that I've been through with my son's addictions. She told me that my son came here and kind of picked this to be an addict, to learn the lessons of what it was like to be an addict. And maybe I was picked as his mother to be, I guess, create the Addicts Mom. But I believe there's a higher power. I just can't say like Debbie can that I know there's a God, per se. I'm not sure what that is.
I get that. I get that. I believe Debbie and Barbara, I believe that God is up to stuff that sometimes we go, well, why would God do that? Why would a higher power do that? Why would a loving creator do that? Well, guess what? I don't know. But I know this, that I believe our creator has our best interest at heart. I really, really do. Folks, we got to take another break. When we come back, more with my guest, Barbara Theodosiou. And am I pronouncing that correct?
You are.
Oh, right on. That's great. And Debbie Sherrick. And we're going to talk more about codependency. Don't go away. Serenity Springs Recovery Center, located on the beautiful east coast of Florida. A unique facility that is committed to providing exceptional individual care in small group settings while utilizing their experienced and dedicated clinical and support staff of licensed therapists and doctors. Visit their website, serenityspringsrecovery.com, or call 386-423-4540. Serenity Springs, making a life-changing investment into your recovery.
We understand that having a loved one caught in the grips of an addiction is a powerless position to be in, and we understand this on a very personal level. We have been there ourselves. Our own families have experienced exactly what you are feeling now. The good news is we are here to direct you in finding a way out. We are Freedom Interventions, providing the direction necessary to get the help for your addicted loved one. Your family has specific needs. We can determine the best approach for your specific circumstances. If an intervention is needed, we will provide the direction required to safely and effectively accomplish the goal of recovery for all. To begin the recovery process for your loved one, call toll-free at 888-762-7557. That's 888-762-7557. And visit our website at freedominterventions.com. Freedom Interventions, providing drug and alcohol interventions and a continuum of care services to clients and their families.
Origins Recovery Centers provides integrated inpatient treatment for substance abuse and co-occurring disorders. At Origins, clients receive expert medical, clinical, and spiritual care individually designed for their needs. Our clients leave Origins with the foundation upon which they will build the rest of their lives. Call now to speak with an admissions specialist. Our toll-free number is 888-843-8935. That's 888-843-8935. Origins, delivering real solutions for real families.
That's a loaded statement, isn't it, for the codependent? You make me happy with the things you do, Stevie Nicks. And you make me unhappy with the things you don't do. Boy, that's, oh man. You know what? Something I've noticed, Debbie, is a lot of our songs, a lot of the music that we fill our, we fill our ears and minds with is very codependent. Have you found that to be true?
Oh my gosh, yes. In fact, I used for a Google Hangout show one week, I used the music, Britney Spears music, Toxic.
Oh, yeah.
Because that song it fits so perfect for about a toxic relationship. Yeah, a lot of the music today is very much, towards, which I find, I've been leading codependency groups and speaking on codependency for over 25 years. And I have found that it is like an epidemic now, because not only does someone doesn't have to be involved with an addict or an alcoholic to be a codependent. It's like our world is getting, more and more dysfunctional, especially with relationships, and that so many people are codependent and have no boundaries or no sense of self when it comes to relationships. And there's a lot of codependents out there that aren't even involved with someone in addiction.
Oh, you betcha. Absolutely. There's people that are codependent towards their boss or their employer, or their employees. Oh my God. And I used to, this is good. I'm going to tell on myself here, you guys. I was so addicted in my high school years. I was so addicted to the need to have a best friend that I would attach myself to people. And of course, I'd end up pushing them away, to the degree that when they weren't around, I would listen to things like Top of the World by the Carpenters, Rainy Days and Mondays by the Carpenters, Barry Manilow songs, Can't Live Without You. And I mean, I would soak this stuff up and sit in my little Volkswagen out in the country and just weep uncontrollably. And it was a form of medicating. True?
Yes. It is a form of medicating, and that's part of the addiction of the codependent, is the obsession and the addiction to whoever that might be. As you said, it can be, the husband, the boyfriend, the father, the mother, and, if they're happy, you're happy. If they're sad, you're sad. If they're doing okay, you're okay. If they're doing bad, you're bad. If they're depressed, you're depressed. And that radar of that enmeshment having with a person is really toxic.
I was listening to, was it a show that you did where they did a thing called where they shrink down the song and they were playing Chicago's If You Leave Me Now?
That's a good one. I remember Chicago and that song, If You Leave Me Now. Yeah.
Yeah, you take away the very heart of me. I mean, and there's nothing wrong. Of course it's painful when somebody leaves or when somebody passes away or when there's a betrayal or whatever. But it doesn't mean our lives need to be controlled and directed by that, right?
And that is the core of codependency, is having such a loss of self. Codependency, with the behavior of codependency, you really can't function from your own inner self. You really don't have an identity of self, and that's why codependents get need and love confused. That they find people who need them, people who need rescued, people who need to be enabled, people that you can take care of and fix, because that boosts their self-esteem, and that way they feel loved. Mm-hmm. So when you take that away, and that's why that, the more you look outside yourself for validation on how you should feel or your approval or the more separate you become from yourself. And that's why I named my business Inside Out Wellness, because I myself, as a codependent, looked at everything and tried everything outside of myself to fill that void inside. It was men, it was relationships, it was religion, it was bodybuilding, it was sexual relationships, it was fixing, my family members. It was everything outside that I tried. Even, lots of therapy.
Yeah.
But until I really did deep inside work and really got to the root of, what happened to me growing up and dealing with all that pain and sadness and anger and grieving it and working through those things, and looking at how that was showing up in my life today, that I was just repeating my belief system that I learned growing up. I just kept repeating it over and over, over and over. That how's that working for you? Or insanity, doing the same thing over and over, getting good results. Because I didn't want to relate. If I had if I was in a relationship where the man was very available and kind and loving to me, that wasn't attractive to me because I wasn't familiar with that. He didn't need fixed.
Wow.
Debbie, I wanted to say something on what you said. It's so true because I remember, in my life that my dad, he was an alcoholic. He's, I guess, not in recovery. He just stopped. He's still alive and well, thank God. But he always needed me, and I would sit with him for hours, and I would take care of him, and my mother was so mean, and I would always be. And then I remember that when I was in my early 20s, my future husband, who I married, my first husband, he would call a million times a day. Every time I walked away from my desk, there would be messages, beautiful, and I really mistook that need for love. For me, that need, like of always needing me, where's Barbara? That became like my feeling good about myself. It was like, and then from him, my son, who's an addict, my son Daniel, who's my, hardest child, he was very needy. He always needed me for everything. So he became the center of how I filled, my life. I always, I didn't understand. To me, if you needed me, you loved me.
Yes.
Let me play devil's...
Not only if you needed me, you loved me, but it helps. I believe one of the cores of codependency is shame also.
Oh, yeah.
Addiction, but shame. And so if I'm shame-based and you need me and I can help you and I can rescue you, that makes me not feel so ashamed and makes me feel worthy. And so it's like a superiority feeling of I'm superior because I can help this person, I can fix him, and I can help him through his addiction and find a treatment for them, and all those things makes me feel important and worthy because really superiority and perfectionism and all those are behaviors underlying is shame.
Yeah, you bet. It's shame and trauma, right?
Control.
Yes.
Yeah.
In control. Got to be in control.
Yeah. Let me play devil's advocate here for a second, because I know that there are listeners listening now that are saying, isn't it important to feel needed?
Well, yes, and that's the whole thing about teaching people about what a relationship, because most all codependents have no idea what a healthy relationship should look like.
Yeah.
We weren't near that growing up. We don't know. We have parents that weren't totally whole and complete in themselves and maybe codependent on each other. And, there's lots of different ways or forms of growing up dysfunctionally. But finding that balance in a relationship of what to expect and what your unrealistic expectations are. Because, we can either be very codependent and overly enmeshed in a relationship where we lose our identity. We lose ourself in the relationship. We don't ask for what our needs are to be met, and we have no boundaries, and that goes along with the codependent relationship. And then a lot of times when people get in recovery, they go to the other extreme and become independent, where nobody's going to hurt me again, nobody's going to ever control me again. And so they build walls of independence, of I'm fine by myself, and not letting anybody in, and live this isolated, independent, not having close relationships. And so we want to get to the middle where we have interdependent relationships. We can have close relationships but still have our identity of ourselves. We can go apart and do things on our own and take care of ourselves. We can come together with that person, go apart, come together, and that's our goal. But to get to the place where I need you to be happy, or I need you to be okay for me to be okay, I need you to do this for me to be okay. And codependents are famous for getting into a relationship and then let me change you to how I think I need you to be for me to be okay.
Right, which is really just another form of selfish and self-centeredness, isn't it?
Yes. And what, Money? I found, and I know this has true in my life, and I say this with codependence, we're either easily controlled by someone or we will control. Because one of my second marriage, he was a heroin addict and ended up overdosing and dying, but he was an abusive control freak.
Mm.
And I had no say in the home. I was afraid. He controlled my anger and abuse. So that was a relationship where I was totally controlled and was like a doormat. And then I've had relationships where I had to be in control, to feel safe. So it can really go either way. The codependent.
Go ahead, Barbara.
I was going to say that I think that my husband is very controlling, and I think that also, what Debbie said, is really kind of in a way what attracted me to him in a really sick way. Like, not when you don't work on your issues to become a whole person, like you had asked the question, does a codependent need to be needed? I think it's just a matter of becoming healthy enough to be in a healthy relationship, which, of course, in a healthy relationship, each person needs each other, but in a healthy way. But when Debbie points out the fact that we're attracted to people that are controlling, that are very, very needy, they go hand in hand. Yes. Most people that need you so much are very controlling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, isn't that the truth? Yeah, because I know that's exactly who I was when in my search for the perfect best friend back in high school. I had a buddy. We were best. Well, I have to correct myself. I was his best friend for 25 years, and I was under the illusion that he was my best friend too. And when he didn't fulfill my expectations of what that meant, I was out doing what a lot of spouses will do or significant others will do when their loved one's going out to the bar. I'm out driving around looking for the guy. I'm making plans. I'm like, hey, Larry. I said, hey, Larry, let's go to the beach Saturday and load up the cooler with some Lone Browse. Oh, I'm dating myself now. With some Lone Browse and some sandwiches, and let's go to the beach on Saturday. And he'd say, well, that sounds like a good idea. Let's talk about that more. And then that would be like on Wednesday. I wouldn't talk to him at all until Saturday, and I'm showing up at his door with a cooler full of beer and food. He's not there. And I'm like, okay, how dare he? How dare he do that to me? And I go looking for him, and I'd find him because we're really good at that. We got codependent radar, right? And I'd find the guy, and I'd say, what is going on? We made plans. He goes, whoa. We didn't make any plans. You said it was an idea, and you never followed up. So I went ahead and made some other plans, and I'm like, I'm mad at him. I'm mad at the person he's spending time with. I go back home, and then I'm in tears, and I'm begging him to forgive me. And this cycle went on, and eventually, Barbara and Debbie, that gentleman of 25 years of friendship told me that he could no longer have anything to do with me, and thank God I was in recovery and far enough along in my recovery process to where I completely understood, and we had to cut all ties for his health as well as mine. And to this day, we haven't spoken, and it's okay. It's okay.
And that when you were talking about that, Monty, I was thinking about one of the things that was said to me in the beginning of my recovery of codependency years ago, and I use this with clients today because it's so profound, that we teach people how to treat us.
Yes.
And yet, codependents are so famous for playing the victim. Look what he's done to me. Look what they're doing to me. How could they do this to me? Look how they're treating me. And yet, we've set it up that way.
Yeah. That's true. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you a question. What happens when you see somebody that you love and you're concerned for, and they're an adult, or at least they're over the age of 18, and you see them making a decision to go down a road that you know there's a dragon down that road that's going to eat them alive. You know it. Everybody else around them knows it. They may even know it, and they choose to make that decision anyway. It's not easy to bite your lip and just allow that to happen. That is so hard.
I really don't believe in biting your lip. I mean, I like to, in a situation like that, Monty, I like to talk about having emotional integrity.
Yeah.
Emotional integrity is, not stuffing your feelings, but being able to confront, and I say carefront instead of confront.
Oh, I like that.
Carefront this person, and you say, I care enough about you that this is what I'm seeing and this is what I'm afraid of.
Right.
And I just wanted to bring this to your attention that, I'm looking at the consequences that could come from this choice, and I'm really afraid for you, and I'm hoping and believing that you're going to make the right decision. So you're letting them know you believe that they're going to make the right decision. Then we have to take our hands off of it.
Yeah.
And let them make that choice. And then that's where we have to do our part with, okay, they've made this choice. Now, how am I going to handle this for me in a healthy way? Is there a boundary I need to set? Is there a contract I need to have with this kid in my house? We can only take care of ourselves.
And I wanted to comment on that, Debbie, because one of the things that my brother was a heroin addict, and I remember being really distressed most of my life over that and him. But when it comes to mothers and their children, honest to God, there is, to me, no greater pain. And with addiction, the choices that my addicted son and many of our addicted children make are obviously so awful, and whether, we believe, we take the stance in the Addicts Mom that addiction is a disease. That doesn't mean you can't help yourself and get into wellness and treatment, but it happens so frequently that, obviously you're going to say to your child, okay, you've been down the road. How many times you're going to, when are you going to take a different road and you've done this? But you really, really have such a deep sense of hurt inside of you that you almost have to understand. And one person said something to me that kind of woke me up. And because the mother's so close to the child, the mother has a false belief that she can save this child. And you try every which way. And somebody once looked at me and said, I hate to break your bubble, but you're probably the last person in this entire world that can help your son.
Yeah,
wow.
Absolutely. And
wow.
It's a whole different ball game for moms.
Yes.
Because I've had husbands as addicts. I had a daughter who went down the road of alcoholism. And it's a whole different, because a mom, it's innate within us to nurture and take care
and protect.
Of who's the one when the child's sick that the mom's in there rubbing the head in the middle of the night, wiping up the throw up, and it's natural to us to take care of and nurture our children. So when you see a child that's going down the road of addiction, that's why it takes so much work and support to be able to have tough love and get to that place to know, I am probably the last one that's going to be able to help this child because I'm too emotionally attached to this kid.
That's right.
So I just have to realize my part in whatever that is, letting go and praying and tough love, whatever that, to be that where you're at. But tough, very tough with kids. Very tough.
Wow. All right, we're going to take our last break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap this thing up. Barbara Theodosiou and Debbie Sherrick are my guests today. It's a tremendous insight and tools for the Addicts Mom, for parents, for loved ones, family members, for the addict themselves. Don't go away, my friends. More when we come back. It is good to have you with us. Stay tuned. Hey there, it's the Monty Man from Take 12 Recovery Radio, introducing a brand new recovery television series, Time to Heal with Pam. Breaking the chains of addiction. Broadcasting on Treasure Valley Community Television in Boise, Idaho. Time to Heal with Pam is a recovery talk show focused on the psychological, emotional, and spiritual aspects of addiction. Its mission, to deliver the truth that recovery from alcohol and narcotic addiction is possible. Tune in Sundays at 10 a.m. and again at 7:30 p.m., as well as Monday through Friday at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time on Channel 11 TVC TV, Boise, Idaho. Or visit the website at tvboise.com and click on the Watch Live banner at the top of the page. Not from Idaho? No problem! Go to the YouTube channel and type in Time to Heal with Pam in the search bar. Watch all episodes 24/7. That's Time to Heal with Pam on TVC TV, Channel 11, Boise, Idaho. All right, welcome back. And our guest, today, Barbara Theodosiou of theaddictsmom.com and Debbie Sherrick of InsideOutWellnessCoach.com. You can follow the links here at take12radio.com. Please visit both websites. Check them out, the services they provide. Get involved. So, Debbie, let me ask you this. We have heard it said within the 12-step recovery world and other recovery communities that not every codependent is alcoholic or addict, but every addict and alcoholic is codependent. Do you agree with that or not?
I absolutely agree with that. And actually, Monty, one of the things that I try to encourage when I talk to the family members is a lot of times I will work with the addicts in a holistic way when they're, coming out of treatment or whatever, so they don't have to go on antidepressants and Xanax and all that. I like to give them alternative remedies to help with that type of thing. And I always love to encourage alcoholics and addicts, those that are addicts, to do some codependency work, because show me one addict that can have a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
So, really, I think they're codependents that choose addiction to cover their pain, and their shame and all of that.
You bet.
And so, yes, and so many addicts scoff at, they're codependent. I'm an addict, but they're codependent, Say, well, you know what? We all, it's a family disease.
Right. It sure is. It sure is. EmpowerOurShow.com/live is a show that you do once a month as well, right?
Yes. In fact, tonight is one. I'm doing one. The topic is toxic shame, feeling not good enough.
Oh, shame. Oh boy, yeah, you bet. Well, listen, that link is going up on our page as well. Folks, like I said, please check these out. It would do you a world of good. Hey, listen, you know what? What is that? Milton, the author Milton said, "Evil abounds when good men do nothing." I mean, if you're going to sit around and whine about your day and not do anything about it when you have the tools, well, only a fool does that. Come on, folks. You're not foolish, are you? Let's get on board with this stuff. Let's work together. Let's stop doing the us against them thing. You guys, thank you so much. We are out of time. Barbara, any last words from you?
Yeah, I wanted to mention just real quickly, the Addicts Mom also has a group for grandparents raising their grandchildren. It's
wonderful.
Addicts Mom CDG, and we also have the Addicts Dad, the father of that.
The Addicts Dad too. Oh wow. Well, Debbie, any last words from you?
No, other than thank you so much, Monty, and I just want to let the audience know you don't have to suffer in your pain and loneliness and, what you're going through with your addict or out there, that there is support, there's help, and most of all, learning to love and respect yourself first instead of looking for it on the outside.
Yes, Bill Wilson called it the next frontier, entitled Emotional Sobriety. Yeah. Amen. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you to
Monty. Thank you, Monty. It was fun.
You bet. Stay on the line, you guys. Barbara Theodosiou and Debbie Sherrick, both my guests. Follow the links here at Take12Radio.com. Remember to check out our Recovery Cartoon Caption Contest. Go to Take12Radio.com, click on Recovery Cartoons. You could win for fun and for free. Until our next broadcast, don't forget, if you're on the Bill Post Radio Network, Bill Post is coming up next. This is the Monty Man. We're wishing God's perfect serenity for you, my friends. For you. Bye-bye now.
This has been a broadcast of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
Kitty, 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 kitty.